Hello again, my treasure. Did you rest well? You fell asleep so quickly after our revels. I thought it easier to drop my glamour and carry you and the cart back home. You didn't stir once, even as we flew. And then, well, you looked so adorable, curled up in my talons. I didn't want to risk waking you, and so I brought you here. Oh, stop apologizing. Experiencing the incomparable, life-altering bliss of a dragon's attention for the first time would tire anyone out, I imagine. You know, I thought I sampled practically every delight imaginable among the unseelie. But unraveling you was an unexpected joy. I am accustomed to my partners choosing a distinctly jaded approach. They are greedy for my regard and the bragging rights that come from having spent a night with me. But once they get me alone, it's almost amusing how they try to hide their wonderment, lest I think them mawkish or unsophisticated. It's there, of course. I know it's there. I hear it in their racing hearts, and how sometimes they tremble and forget to breathe. But the second they see me noticing, they become strangely embarrassed and resentful at being caught showing emotion of a genuine nature. So they spend the rest of the night struggling all the harder to convince me that while our amusements may be enjoyable, they are certainly not impressed. Silly creatures. But you, my jewel. It was such a treat watching your eyes go round when you looked upon me. Your heartfelt honesty was so much more endearing. Wait, should I wish to again? Of course I wish it. Were you worried I would be satisfied with just one pleasant afternoon?
You sweet fool. I have not yet begun to kiss you. But those are diversions for another time. We have so much planning to do. Now that I can finally enjoy this form again, I must show you the Summerlands. Oh, don't be absurd. It's no trouble at all. I can hardly wait for my glorious return. Let's go to my bedchambers. We'll need to have you properly attired. Everyone will be so curious about the pretty new creature on my arm. We must make you dazzling for the welcoming feast. Mortals are an incredibly rare occurrence at court, after all. We get the occasional human prince or ambassador at solstice balls or certain very select celebrations. Usually very dull affairs, with none of your typical mischief. Sometimes a fey noble will show up with a mortal in tow as the evening's entertainment, although it's understood the poor thing likely won't survive the night. The unseelie can be so rough with their toys. Oh, Crumpet, no. You are mine. You will be perfectly safe. I promise. Try this tunic on for me. No. It lacks a certain something. No, the unseelie aren't as gruesome as that. I suspect your village's folktales may be colouring your perspective a little. It's simply that a few of the party games can be a little intense. And even if the mortal survives the evening and sneaks back home, they lack the proper precautions to do so safely. They find that hundreds of years have passed while they were away, and they turn to dust the moment they step out of the portal. No, that colour hasn't been in fashion for at least a decade. It is quite sad, yes. Your little bodies just aren't made to withstand that much time all at once. But it's nothing you need to worry about. Should we decide to return, I will ensure that all will be exactly as we left it, with minimal time having passed. Oh, perhaps a week or two? Maybe a month? Not years, anyway. You won't disintegrate upon arrival. You have my word. I think it will be some time before you'll wish to leave, though. There is so much to see and do, and it will be delicious introducing my favourite to my exclusive circle of dear friends. I believe I mentioned before that the unseelie love a mystery, and you are certain to thrill them. Once you've actually set foot in the Summerlands, you'll understand. We shall have a marvellous time together. I also thought I might use the opportunity to find someone who would be useful in tidying up the village's lingering blight. Perhaps a dryad or a wizard specializing in natural magics. Did you think I had forgotten? Ugh, if only I could. The smell alone. It plagues me every time I hunt. Sometimes I swear I can detect a whiff of rancid magic even from all the way up here. Don't tell me you've been fretting about this silently all these weeks. It's true that I have been neglectful of your village in times past, but things are different now that I've reclaimed it from Neri and the rest of his idiots. The peasants are mine. I wouldn't dream of making them live in filth, and they can hardly pay me tribute if they are busy worrying about their little wheat crops, can they? And all that aside, I'm finding I quite enjoy doing things that make you happy. I'll take care of everything. Don't give it another thought. Now. Silk. Vasna silk. Yes, try on this robe. Yes. This will suit you beautifully. The red and orange make you look as though you're wreathed in brilliant flame, and I've always been fond of the cloth of gold suns and stars decorating the sleeves. It's perfect. Wear it for the rest of the day. I want to imagine how you'll outshine everyone else there. Oh, I want to adorn you. A golden mask, inlaid with sun garnets, rings for each of your fingers, bangles for your wrists and ankles, gems for your lovely throat. And later, I look forward to helping you so that I can enjoy the sight of all those riches shining against your skin. But right now, I'm more interested in kissing you, Giddy.
Behold, Dragon Lord Reuben, 7th living celestial wonder and adjudicator of the sacred flame. Accompanying him is his mortal crumpet.
I know. Only I should get to call you Crumpet. But it would be too dangerous to allow them your given name. But look, they adore you already. No, it's all right. No need to be nervous. You're safe. Let their regard wash over you like warm bath water. Revelers, deviants, fierce and beautiful children of Queen Mab, thank you for your warm welcome. Let us carouse under jubilant stars once more. You're doing well, my treasure. Of course I'm fine. More than fine. Let's find our places at the banquet table. Luxury at last. I've missed these smells. Roasted boar leg, blackened pheasant, dormouse pasties. And it's nice to see that sugared fruits are still fashionable. Perhaps later. Somehow my appetite isn't peaked yet. It's nothing. It's only... somehow I'm hesitant to sample the food just yet. I can't seem to stop remembering what it was like having to purge myself after I was poisoned. I'm sure the feeling will fade. You know, it's strange. As much as I loathed it at first, I realize now it was sort of nice dwelling in my cave. Peaceful. I forgot the simple, honest pleasure of chasing down a mountain elk and devouring it while its blood still ran hot, with no thought of how I looked or whether I would share the delicacies of its heart or liver, then swimming in a nearby river until my scales shone clean again. It is good to be back in the Summerlands. It's wonderful. But I suppose we never truly know what we have until it's gone. Do we, Crumpet? But look, I have gifts to open. Golden cufflinks, golden hair comb, golden rings, yet more decorations for my horns. You make one preference known, and suddenly everyone sends you nothing but gold. Would it be too much to receive something original for once? Something made with care and creativity? King Midas's crowning glory from Neri waits. Oops. Now, is that any way to treat an apology gift? I'm going to find the imbecile who invited you and eat them. What? Are you still cross? If anything, I should be the one receiving an apology present after you all but chased me out of your cave. But here I am, bearing the olive branch, and you make a face like you've just bit into a lemon. And what have you laced this bottle with, Neri? Or is it dragon's bane again? Dreadfully gauche to repeat poisons, you know. How very dare you! I would never repeat poisons. I mean, don't be silly. No one in this room is as overjoyed as I to have you back. Oh, wonderful. Now what do I do to make you go away? I wish to make things right between us again, Ruby. Don't call me that. How can I fix things, short of burning your robes, rolling about in the ashes, and groveling at my feet, you mean? Come now. Purge the blight you left on my village. Entirely. if I find you've half-assed it...
Of course I can do that. But you know the rules, Reuben. I had no idea the village was yours when I claimed it as my own. You neglected the peasants for so long, after all. If I am to attempt such a massive undertaking, I must ask of you a boon in return.
How many times must I tell you I'm not giving you my mortal?
No, you've made that very clear. I will not touch your mortal, pretty as they are. But we must have things equal between us. I would so hate to have you in my debt.
Fine. What in the hells do you want?
Well, I've always wanted to hunt a dragon, you know.
You hunt me? Say I agree. What would you do once you caught me?
Well, that would be telling. Best leave a little to the imagination, Reuben dear.
And what happens if you messily expire, as I expect you will?
You have my word, I will fix the blight before our hunt begins. Just you and me and the mountain. That's all I want. How does 1 week from now sound?
I suppose that will have to do.
1 week, then. Shake on it?
Fine. Now, go bother someone else for the rest of the evening. I've surely earned a respite from you.
Very well. See you later, Reuben.
My treasure. It's sweet of you to worry for me. But I promise there is nothing to be concerned about. If he wants to heap one more humiliation on his head in exchange for undoing the damage he inflicted on my village, who am I to stop him? Don't let him ruin what's promising to be a wonderful evening. Besides, I think it'll be funny. What a party. It's a shame it had to end. Still, it was good that I could finally treat my crumpet to a glamorous evening. And you are just as enchanting as I imagined you would be. Oh, don't be silly. You made quite the impression. You were a little quiet, but there's nothing wrong with that. It only made you more intriguing. They're going to talk for months about the captivating, mysterious creature on my arm. Crumpet, I don't want to speak of Neri again this evening. It's as I told you before. He's nothing. He can't harm me. I'm allowing it because I... Do you trust me? Then come aside with me a moment. This way. Yes, it's a bit of a twisted path, these alleyways. There's a spell in place to confuse the uninitiated. If you don't know any better, you could find yourself walking in the same circle for hours without realizing it. You may take my arm, but you needn't worry. Nothing will tear you away from me. It's just a glamour. You'll find them everywhere in the city. Here we are. Looks just like a closed-up shop, doesn't it? Feel how your eyes want to look away. But observe, this brick always appears wet when the weather is fine, and bone dry when it's raining. And when you give it a press, you'll find the real entrance. Down the stairs we go. You'll feel a little tickle against your skin, but pay it no mind. It's just the gate letting you through. My flat isn't actually too far from this shop. We'll need to take a shortcut through the night market. But before we venture there, I'd like to show you something. We must feed the door before it will allow us entrance. First, we wake it with a knock, and then we give it a snack. No need for alarm, Crumpet. It's only hungry, and not for you. It prefers lost keys to mortals, no matter how comely. You'd be surprised how often random door keys come in handy round here. Lots of beings take them as payment. No. I grabbed a handful of them before we left the cave. Ah, yes. Oh, come on then, door. Open your mouth. Down the hatch. No. You can relax. All that you see here is real. No tricks or glamours. Just a little underground cafe run by a poisonwood dryad. Best tea and scones I've ever tasted. We can have a treat, you know, if the party left you peckish. I don't think I saw you do more than nibble at a sugared plum the whole time. Were you still worried the antidotes wouldn't work on you? Oh, my poor Crumpet. Oh yes, the fare here is poisoned as well. I did tell you it was trendy, but it's not only for making your rivals miserable. Well, scones drizzled with mad honey cause pleasant and often beautiful hallucinations, and a warm cup of bliss leaf tea keeps those dreams from turning into nightmares, although if you drink more than one cup, there's a slight risk you may never wake up again. I keep telling you, there's nothing to fear. Twilight knows what she's doing. She wouldn't have much of a business if her clientele kept dying, would she? Oh. No scones for my morsel, then. Very well. I'll find you something more suitable at the night market in that case. Don't mind us, Twilight dear. I know you're not quite open for business yet. We only wanted to take a peek at your orchard. I'm sure she heard me. This is one of my favorite spots in the entire city. Smells lovely in here, doesn't it? So many flowers and ripe fruits. Reminds me of home. Oh, no, not the cave. Though the forest there is not without his charms. I meant that it reminds me of where I grew up. Simpler, happier times. I come here when I need to quieten my thoughts. I've never brought anyone else with me before. I never had cause to. Walk with me a while? You asked earlier why I allowed Neri to talk me into letting him hunt me. I don't think you realize how thoroughly I neglected your little village. Had you not arrived, I probably would have continued to do so. I simply was not interested in ruling them, not when I was so unsuitable. Yes, this is about the magic. I mean, of course I can breathe fire, change my form, operate portals. Any dragon can do those things. But my mother, she had real magic. She could speak to the earth, the trees. She could sense it when something was wrong. Whereas for me, the forests and mountains, they were always silent. No magic ever stirred at my call, no matter how I tried. How could I possibly compare? I don't know why I am like this. It could be I was simply hatched the wrong way. The circumstances of my birth weren't exactly ideal. None of the eggs survived, save mine. But I was born small. It wouldn't surprise me to learn that I was just blocked off somehow. Never let it be said that I'm not beautiful. But I'm not yet powerful. And so, instead, I surround myself with powerful devotees and pawns. As long as I keep their attention, it doesn't matter that I can't use magic. They can, and they'll scramble to do as I ask. They have no idea, of course. I've convinced them I simply can't be bothered. And they're so eager to please. I need to amuse myself with the thought that it's sort of like weaving spells, charming and wielding all these lucky little idiots whose fey hearts pump out pure magic with their every beat. But the longer I continue doing so, the more bitterly the jest stings. And so, being such an inadequate guardian, I never felt much for your village. It didn't matter to me if they thrived or if they suffered. They were a nuisance, camped at the bottom of my mountain. I would have never visited had you not convinced me to. I never would have truly seen them. Oh, they are such artless, earnest little creatures, your people. Not a speck of guile among them. All they want to do is live and adore me. They're mine. I want to do all that I can to protect them. That is the reason I made a pact with Neri. This damned blight is completely beyond me. Hell, I don't even know if Mother could remove it entirely. He can, though. It would hardly exert him at all. Would it help you feel better if I explained more about what will happen? Well, the hunt itself is a simple diversion. Neri is allowed to use whatever feeble magic he has in his arsenal to try and bind me. If he succeeds, he is allowed to take my life, but that would make him unpopular at court. It's considered incredibly bad form to actually kill your enemy. It ends the fun for everyone else, you see. And the petty little idiot doesn't want me dead now, any more than he wanted me dead when he poisoned my wine. He simply wants to hurt and humiliate me. Not that he'll get that far. As a rival, Neri is beneath mention. And so, in a week, you'll wait for me at the top of my mountain and... No, sadly, you are not allowed to come with me, my pet. And I would not risk you anyway. He may be so hopelessly inferior to me, but he could still enthrall you with a single spoken word if he wished. I'll spend the day dragging him kicking and screaming through the forest. If you like, I'll drop him in a stinking bog for you. He'll slink home to scrub away his shame, and your people will be free to grow their food and, do whatever else it is that peasants do when they're not giving me tithes. Anyway, playing this ludicrous game with Neri is a trifle. Your village gave me you. For that alone, I'd move the stars for them. Don't you dare tell. The night market. Here you can find the most amusing things to eat after a long night of drinking. I'm quite partial to a stall that sells jacket potatoes stuffed with curried Minotaur sausage and crispy fried onions. No, they are not poisoned. The good lady who sells them is not susceptible to fats. She's made them the exact same way since the market first opened, 2 centuries ago. That's her stall over there. Looks like it's closed. She must still be away on family business. It's a shame. I would have liked to buy you a potato. What? What is that grin for? Did I say something especially charming? Yes, having you with me makes me feel like I'm experiencing everything anew again. So what? It's more fun showing you around. Look at you, poor little peasant. You'd never even left home before I brought you here. Wait, no. Dear, no, let's not visit that kebab stall. Trust me. Just keep walking and don't look too closely at the meat. It's not pork, that's all you need to know. Perhaps it would be better if I spirited you directly to my flat and had the servants make you something there. I'm sure at least one of them would still be up at this hour.
6 for 10 silvers. What interests you in a fairy apple, my lord? Cost is 2 silvers or 10 dorkies, your choice.
No, don't bother me.
Hey, I'm offering these at a discount. They're perfectly ripe. I'll cut them any shape you want. Oh, hold up. You got your hands on an human. In this economy?
I said, leave us.
What's your hurry, Feyblood? Blimey. I'll give you an old bushel of apples if I can have some of its hair. Do you have any idea how much that sells for? Or even better, I haven't tasted mortal blood in ages.
You shut your worthless mouth and get out of my sight.
Oh, keep your hair on. Sharing is caring, you know. Here, we'll see who the human wants to be with.
Come here, pretty thing. Come to me.
Crumpet.
That's it.
No, don't.
Come on, that's it, sweet. Give us your hand. Just be a little prick of my knife.
Yeah.
You dare use compelling words on my plaything.
Fuck, I'm sorry, I take it back, Jesus.
Crumpet, say something. God, you're freezing. Come on. Come back to me, my love. You can do it, it's only a glamour. I'm right here. Come back. I know. You're all right. Sometimes it takes a moment for the fog to clear. You'll only be dizzy for a moment. It's all right. You're safe, and I have you. I think I'll summon us that portal now. I'd forgotten how dangerous this place could be for a mortal. down on the sofa, Crumpet. I'll join you in a moment. You'll stop shivering soon.
To whomever is awake at this hour, I need hot tea with brandy and a large cheese and onion pasty, now.
Here you are, dear. No poison, just tea with honey and a splash of brandy. It will banish the last of the chill. How's that pasty? Of course I remembered your favorite. How could I forget, watching you demolish that enormous pile of them when we first met? I didn't know whether to be horrified or impressed. I shouldn't have brought you here. It was foolish. It's not your fault. This is a dangerous city for someone like you. I just didn't want to see it. I thought I would be enough to protect you. I will endeavor to be more careful. How are you feeling? Good. But your poor little hands, still so cold. I don't remember the last time I lost my temper enough that I sprouted scales and horns like that. I almost lost control. Still, the look on his face was amusing. He certainly didn't expect a Fey noble to do that, did he? I'm sure I'll haunt his nightmares for months to come. Oh, if he'd hurt you, I would have torn out his heart and fed it to the street rats. I'm glad I didn't have to touch him, though. He was filthy and smelled of frost and rot. What did I say earlier? I hardly remember. I was in such a panic. Oh. Yes, I suppose I did call you my love, didn't I? Must have slipped out. Well, I meant it. And I don't bestow that word on just anyone, you know. I didn't expect to, but I've grown very fond of you. Shall I show you how much? Come here. Let me carry you to bed.